KDB.
Check it. Baraka za baba. Yendo number uno, Yesu number uno. Yeah. Number uno, yendo number uno. Si chocha. What is working in my life?
Welcome back and thank you very much for joining us again for this conversation. Thank you DJ Andy C for the musical break and the amazing gospel. So leo tunataka kuongelea mambo ya watu na destiny na nyota za watu. Watu wanasemanga kuibiwa ama tuseme tu destiny za watu kuwa interfered with. And with me is a lady that has been in the journalism field and also now a minister of the gospel. Na nitauliza kwanza anze na introduction. Praise the Lord.
Amen.
And thank you for joining us.
Asante for having me.
Amen.
It's a pleasure.
Yes.
I'm delighted.
Yes.
God bless you for inviting me here.
Amen.
Yes.
Sasa nataka tu tuanze na straight to the point. Kumekuwa na hiyo mambo ya watu kuongea kuhusu nyota yangu imeibiwa, pokea nyota, unajua conversations.
Yes.
As a minister, is it something that is real or is it a lie?
I like something you've said that the world is becoming more spiritual.
Yes.
And it is true that it happens, but of course, as you have said, it is controversial to the ears of many.
Yeah.
And it has been made a business as well because many pastors are just using that even when it is not necessarily there.
Okay.
But it is real, it is happening, and it happened to me, so I'm a testament to that.
Wacha tu tuanze na basic before tuingie kwa testimony. Nyota ni nini? Najua sasa we see each other flesh and blood.
Yes.
So kuna mtu atauliza, boss, tena mimi nimekuwa nyota. What is this? Possibly people could be using a word nyota.
Yes.
Just trying to explain something that is very simple. Nyota ni nini?
Nyota is pretty much destiny.
Okay.
We are all born na kitu tunaita nyota.
Okay.
And because I like to go back to the Bible,
yes.
When Jesus was born, that's the simple example that I can give.
Okay.
There's a star that appeared.
Okay.
And the wise men and the people who studied, the stargazers, knew this is a king.
Okay.
And that's why it brought about a lot of uproar because they knew now there's a king who is coming to fight, the kings that have been there before for a certain purpose. And that's why it was a big deal. But the star spoke first.
Okay.
Yes.
So naturally, this is destiny.
Yes.
And everyone is born with a destiny.
Yes.
And that destiny can be interfered with.
Oh, yes.
So what happened to your life? What happened to you?
I can say I was a high flyer because I share na wale mademo wanako serious na life.
Okay.
And I was working, of course you've mentioned, as a journalist at First Daily Nation. That was in 2015. And then I went to NTV 2016 and after that I joined the government and I worked for them until 2018.
Okay.
Now, what happened after that is that I lost my job in circumstances that I can't explain to date, but I know it was God's plan in that weird way.
Okay. So that was permanent and pensionable.
Yes, it was.
Which is not easy to lose a job given by government.
Oh yes, it's not easy to lose.
Okay.
It's not easy to lose. We all know it.
Yes.
Yes. So I lost it, and after losing it is now when I came to meet this person who I can say exchanged my destiny.
Okay, so when you say I came to meet this person, was it a relationship? Was it a one-time encounter? What happened?
He's a man I met through my cousin, and at first it was okay. When I lost my job, I got deep into drinking and addiction, and I was just terrible. I was in the trenches. I was just, and then I meet this person and it was just a normal, simple hangout. But with time, it ended up being a relationship and I got into a relationship with him. Yes, and that's how now I got into a relationship with this man who I keep saying, and I've said it even on my platforms, that he wasn't the kind of man I would look at and say, this is my type of man. So even this relationship, I can't tell you how I got drawn to it, but yes, I got into that relationship. And within no time, we had sexual relations, which is the first gate I opened, because sexual relations is what the devil is using so much as a gate to interfere with destinies, and because that is fornication in the Bible. And that is how I got, you know, connected to this man, and that's how we began a relationship. And my life just began to go spiral downwards.
Was he weird? Was he... Najua kuna mtu unaweza kutana naye hata vile anabonga, akona tu red flags. Was there any red flags saizi ukiangalia? Juu kuna mtu unaona ndio hajaokoka. Kuna watu hajaokoka lakini wanaishi maisha normal. For lack of a better word. They are not weird. They are God fearing. But there are people who are not born again. Lakini ni wa weird. Utasikia tu vitu wanataja. Wone mtu kuna pato ya spirituality anajua enye it's a different one. Did you maybe, was he weird in any way?
Neza sema alificha game. So I can't really say I pointed out anything weird. Because again, the devil is not using weird people. They look normal in our eyes. So to me, he looked normal. Again, remember, I was in the world, so I can't even discern any weirdness. So he didn't have any weird behavior, but with time, that weird behavior came to be. Now I'd see it. But I was deep into the relationship. Yes, so the moment we got into this relationship, I have said my life began, you know, a downward spiral where I could no longer, you know, even if I had lost the job and I was a bit depressed, I was still, you know, trying to get my, you know, my money together. I was still trying to get jobs here and there. I had put up an office in my house, so I was doing something. And when I met him now, all that began to stop. The desire to even work stopped. And of course, when you don't work, you won't have any wages. So I didn't, you know, there was no way to support myself. To support myself to the point that I couldn't even afford food. I couldn't afford rent. I fully depended on other people, borrowing and borrowing everyone. I think I lost all my friends at that time because abu ya venye nilikuwa tu naomba tu pesa. Then my parents, you know, my mom is a pastor, Pastor Priscilla, God bless her. And she was seeing something weird happening to me, and they would ask one another, what happened to our daughter? What is going on with her? You know, one time she's a high flyer, she's doing so well, and then the other, she's a drunk who is always in fika drinking, and she doesn't even afford anything. She doesn't work. Because let me mention, when I met this person, of course, as it will be normal in a relationship, you let them in on everything. So I'd let him in even on the jobs I'd get. And the moment I'd show him a certain job, your job it will just go dry. You know, if for example, I'm working for someone, I will work and not get paid. For example, if I get a deal today, and of course I'm excited, I go and tell him as my boyfriend, that deal will not come through.
Amendo alikuwa na nyota mbaya.
I think sisi sema ni yeye alikuwa na nyota mbaya, yeye alikuwa anajua nini anafanya. Unajua yeye alikuwa job.
Na mimi nishaimit mtu na ni wa dini tofauti. Na tukakuwa tu mabeste. Akaniambia kutoka nikujue ninakafunga nyota yako ni poa. Unajua? Sio watu wanajua mambo ya nyota. So labda ulipatana na mtu akona nyota swara.
Swara. Yeye mwenyewe ndiye alikuwa swara. But you know, he was on assignment. Kwa hivyo yeye alikuwa anajua what he's doing all this while. And before I knew it, I could no longer stay where nilikuwa nakaa Dhome. So hata huyo landlord, he told me, you know, you just leave, you know, you don't need to pay me the arrears. And it was so much money. Akaniambia by 6 p.m. I don't want you in my house, get out. Again, rejection kicked in. The moment you sexually connect yourself to someone, they are able to manipulate your life in any direction they want to. And rejection is the other thing that you get the moment your destiny has started being interfered with or being exchanged. I'm a layman's language, nyota yako ikiibiwa. Rejection is so big. You're rejected by anyone. Hata makanga, you will just hate you for nothing. You'll just argue with anyone for, you know, because you're not likable. Because the moment we are in the hands of God, there is a favor that is upon us. And that time I can say that is what that happened. And when I moved out...
Wachani uleze swali kama Kenya. So here you have parents.
Yes.
Pasi yako sawa.
Yes.
And here you're in a relationship, you're struggling. This time, why don't you go back home? kwa sababu nimekuanga na hiyo concern ya mbona watu wateseke Nairobi. What was going on in your mind?
Yeah. Again, because it is a spiritual manipulation, going home cannot be an option.
Okay.
Because the devil is not done with what he's doing. And going home means I'll get refuge.
Okay.
Because remember, there's someone who is praying, so hizo maombi zitaniokoa from whatever is going on.
So this time you are caged.
So I'm caged. I can't even think like that. You know, and then the devil gives you some sort of pride to make you feel like, you know, you'll get out of this. I mean, you're big, you've worked for NTV. I mean, who is like you? You've worked for the government. You know, the devil feels all these things in your head. But that time uko kwa trenches and no one can tell you. I don't know whether you found a drunk person who is making you feel like you're nothing, yet he's the one in captivity.
Yeah. And also, you know, you're mentioning something very powerful.
Yes.
Because there are many people who are struggling today.
Yes.
But they have very able parents.
Yes.
Na kuna kitu tu inawaambianga, mimi naona hata wasona wanakuomba do.
Yeah.
Wengine wanakuja counseling, prayer, unamuuliza boss. I think you have people who can help you.
Yes.
Why don't you just go back home, get help, organize your life, and then now bounce back?
Exactly.
So this is more of a caging.
Is more of a
so
caging.
That hizo milango zinafunguka.
Sasa ni your captivity.
Okay.
Then the devil cannot let you be close to someone who will see beyond the physical. Mwenye atakusaidia ama mwenye ataomba mpaka, you know, those chains. So I was chained, and when I moved out of Dome, I went to live Juja, niliishi Juja. But you see where I moved in, it was pretty much his territory. That's where he lived as well, because he lived in Thika. It is, what, in terms of money, ni 30 shillings to Thika. So that's where I moved in, and now it was easier for him to access me. And now the relationship got, you know, deeper and deeper. And at this point where this relationship is getting deeper, I'm secluding my family. I don't want my family. I don't want anything to do with them. My mom would call me. My dad would call me. I look at the phone. Mpaka imalize kulia. No friends. You're pretty much separated.
Okay.
For the devil to just akumalize, to just finish you. So I had no one but that guy. That's what they do. They make sure no one is close to you but them.
Okay.
So at this point, now I am in a relationship. I have gotten pregnant, and this is according to my story I have given before. I miscarried 3 times, and each time it was the 4th month I would miscarry.
Okay.
Every 4th month I would miscarry. And what he would do when I miscarry, he would disappear. Alikuwa naishianga tu, like even for 2 months or a month. And during this time, I would miscarry and bleed so much that I never used to leave the house.
For the 2 months? For
the 2 months.
Okay.
I would bleed so much. Mpaka nakuwa wanasemanga 1 GB. I become so thin, and this bleeding will not stop.
Okay.
But I will lock myself in the house because one, I'm ashamed, and then there's a stench that used to come with that situation. And so I'd just lock myself up. No one knows. In fact, my parents came, my mom came to know just the other day what used to happen to me. Because again, remember this time I do not have any money. So even simple things like pads I could not afford. So I have to stay in the house and bleed there and just stay in my situation. And then this guy will show up and then, you know, come and pretend as if things are normal. You know, si kama alikuwa ameenda anywhere. Yeah, so it would happen, happened 3 times.
Okay.
And all this time, I didn't know what was happening. But the 4th time I got a child, I felt that I need to not tell him. I felt like I need to hide it. Like when I got pregnant, that is, nearly feel I don't need to tell him, I need to hide whatever is happening. So I did not tell him. So I went about my pregnancy. No one knows. I'm not letting in my parents, no friends. I was just living a very lonely life, and also a suicidal life, because I will get to some point where we argue, ama tukikosana, I will just, you know, get into this, you know, is it a daze that I just want to die? I just want to commit suicide. And I remember one time that I can remember, I nilienda Thika, and I was running after cars literally zinigonge.
Wow. For
them to just knock me down. And my cousin, who I was living with at the time, No, before. This time I'm living alone in Juja. So my cousin knew where I am. So he came to run after me. And I can tell you it was like half a day of doing that. Now he called my parents and my parents came. And when they came, I was hiding. I was running to keg dens and just hiding there because I know they can't come in there. Because they had come to rescue me. But you see, I was also running away from being rescued. And this is what was happening to me. If I'm not running after cars trying for them to knock me down, I'm looking for medicine to go and, you know, take, to overdose so that I die.
And
so
did you overdose in any?
Never. I never did, because my cousin is running after me. Every shop I go, he's telling them, don't sell to her, don't sell to her. And that is the one instance I can remember. But so many times I just felt so worthless and as if I'm nothing. And without this man, I'm nothing. I'm totally nothing. But when he will come back, he will just come back as if things are normal and the relationship embarks. And we go back to normal. So this time that I hid this pregnancy from him, the pregnancy grew now beyond 4 months. And at around, I think, the 5th month, no, at 3 months, I went and told my mom I'm pregnant. But this man I'm with, I don't see myself with him in marriage. So I'm just going to keep this baby, but I can't be married to this person. And my mom was very open, and then she was, you know, her hands were open. And she told me, it's okay, this is our child. We're going to bring this child up, don't worry, and we will support you. But as soon as I left home, I stopped talking to them again. So the pregnancy went on, and he came to know when I was around 7 months or 6 months. That's when now he noticed. And when he noticed, I think it was too late for whatever rituals he was doing at the 4th month. So he was so angry that to a point where he started telling me, you know what, I'm sure this pregnancy is not mine because I didn't know from the beginning. And I told him, it's okay, it's not yours, it's my pregnancy. And so I'm going to keep this child. So with time, he came around and he started now visiting my place again every single day. And this is the moments he would appear at 3 a.m. Yani anatokea tu kwa mlango yangu. Si eti ile ki magician, anatokea ananok.
Or physically?
Physically.
Siki Nigeria.
Siki Nigeria. So alikuwa anatokea, so at 3 a.m. namuuliza umetoka wapi, anuki booze, so hajatoka club. So he would come and you know, try to, lakini amevaa vest, ana hema. Mimi nilikuwa nashangaa anatoka wapi. 24th of December morning, we were with him. And I told him, I think I feel labor pains. I think kuna uchungu tu fulani nasikia, I think he's in labor pains. And instead of taking me to hospital, he immediately just kissed my forehead and ran out. Akaniambia, me and my mom, you know, we need to go somewhere. Remember, he was doing this with his mother.
Okay.
He
so
was
they
doing.
They knew what they were doing.
Knew what they were doing.
Thing.
It was a family thing because after my child was born, I remember they would go to a certain lake for their rituals, or is it for their service every Friday, and they had to be there by 7 a.m.
Lake?
Yes, that was Lake Naivasha.
Okay, najua umekimbiza story na unaongea vitu heavy ni kama ni vitu rahisi. So tuko kwa labor.
Tuko kwa labor.
Tuko kwa labor, umepigwa munju ya forehead.
Yes, na akaishia. Ameskata which year.
And this is the father of your child?
This is the father of my child.
Wow.
So badala nipeleke hosi ya ameishia. Sasa kaa kahawa imeiva. So after that, my mom luckily alikuwa kwa mountain prayer and fasting. So akakuja. So mimi I was so disappointed that this guy has left, badala nipeleke hosi. So nikatoka kwa balcony, I was just standing there, and from afar I saw a woman coming, and I was like, that woman looks familiar. Kumbe ni mamangu. So akakam, akaniambia, right now, get out, get your bag, let's go to hospital. So I told her, Mom, I've not showered, I don't care. You're going to shower in hospital. So let's go. So immediately we left.
So you are laboring that time?
Yes.
Ukomenza, inaitangwa ni kudilate?
Kulabor, just the pains.
Okay.
So tumeenda hosi, hapo Buru, and I get there. And immediately I get there, looking at my phone, 8 missed calls from him. And he was asking me, where have you gone? Umeenda wapi?
Wow.
Yes, he had monitoring spirits even in my house, so he would know when I'm not in that house.
Wow.
He will know whoever comes into that house.
Nafaa kunywa maji, man. You know, some of these things, watu usikia wanasema ni stories za jaba. But at the end of the day, dunia inazunguka hivi, na pia watu wanafanya mamambo. It's good to be alert at the end of the day, and we'll be continuing with this story just to understand what happened to the delivery and also what were these rituals that they used to do at the lake. See you immediately after the musical break. So welcome back and thank you once again for joining us. This is the Angaza show. Leo tunaongelea mambo ya interference of destiny. Watu wengi wanaita nyota. Najua nimependa vile guest amesema hiyo story ya nyota watu wengi wameifanyika kwa biashara. But in reality, a destiny appears as a star sometimes, and there can be interference and interception, especially if you're not very keen with your salvation. Na hii ni mambo ili happen before hata okoke. So umeingia labor, monitoring spirits washajua uko place fulani wamekulocate. 8 missed calls.
8 missed calls.
Your mom is from the mountains.
Yes.
So it looks like God is still working behind the scenes.
God is working behind the scenes.
This is darkness versus light contending over one life.
Yes, totally.
Wow.
And that was my life. So the moment we get there and he's asking me, where have you gone? So of course, the girlfriend, the good girlfriend, I'm like, ata tuko hosi, this and this hospital, yes. So akasema sawa, I'm coming there together with your cousin and a friend of, let me say a drinking buddy, because I really never had friends. So they come to the hospital and they find my mom there, and also my dad was there at the time. And the moment they came, they took me and we went out, bought some things. At this time my labor had surpassed, so it was not that serious. So tukarudi, and before they went, my mom said, let's hold hands and pray. So the moment we prayed, walitoka. But I'm told, now I was told after giving birth, that the moment walitoka, that guy went and had an accident. Yes, he went and had an accident that very day because he was traveling to his up country.
Okay.
Na
To meet the mother.
To meet the mother.
Okay.
Yes.
The day of your delivery, mtu anaenda Ocha.
Yes, mtu anaenda Ocha.
Okay.
To meet the mom, and he was carrying a cat. So I didn't mention there's a certain cat we had bought together, and he had told me to give a name to this cat. Little did I know it was an altar of some sort.
A cat.
Yes. Say, like, as my life was going down,
Yake inaenda juu.
his was going up. It was like literally siphoning from me.
Okay.
Because when I met him, he didn't have anything.
Okay,
I can say that confidently.
Yes.
But on the other hand, I had quite something.
So literally, because now that's where the whole thing iko. Many people don't know that.
Yes.
Sasa wacha kale ka upasi kaingie. Literally, whatever watu ita star is a grace.
Yes.
Ni neema mtu amezaliwa nayo. So mtu anaweza jua uko na neema fulani na ajiconnect na wewe through a relationship. So ndo aweze kutapile neema.
Yes.
Laban Jacob story.
Yes.
That Laban anasema nina prosper juu yako. Maanisha kama yuko hapa siwezi prosper.
I'm even told alikuwa anaulizangwa simanze uachane na udem ni nini na venye unakaa kama unamtesa kwa hii mapenzi. But he would say, if there's one thing I cannot do is leave this lady alone. But there was another girlfriend which I'll bring into the picture. So alikuwa anasema ni heri niache huyu lakini huyu siwezi acha.
So tuko kwa story ya paka msi anaenda Ocha.
Yes. And akapata accident and I'm told paka ika lost. So ikaingia kwa bush na huko. And because alikuwa na mtu ambaye alikuwa ananiambia historia, aliniambia that alitafuta hiyo paka until it was dark. But hata gari haikuwa imeinuliwa. That paka was, I'm just trying to show hiyo paka ilikuwa so important. Mimi ni on the other side niko hosi with my mom. And labor's not yet, hazijakuwa serious. But at one point the nurse comes and tells my mom, you need to leave. But my mom and I were like, but everyone else has someone with them. Okay, then they were like, no, those are spouses, but you need, it was a whole argument. But now I get it was just a spiritual contention. Something happened as I was being rushed into the theater. My mom was coming in. So as my mom was coming in, she noticed it's me who's being carried, but instead of following us, she went and made a call back to the altar because alikuwa ameenda maombi Maimahi Oasis Reigners. That's the church I fellowship. So akawa show, now we need to get into prayer because my daughter has gotten into the theater.
Wow.
Now I'm told that contention went on for 2 hours. Luckily, that altar has a grace of deliverance. So the stories I'm told is that for 2 hours they were just contending for my life. And when the whole surgery was done, the surgeon came and told me, kuna kitu weird may happen that I've never seen in my 30 years of operating people. You've lost little blood that it cannot even fill a 300 ml bottle of soda.
Wow.
So in my head, I thought it was a good thing because I didn't bleed to death. But it was a spiritual thing as well.
Okay.
So I give birth to this child and we are good, we are healthy, we are admitted for a few days just as it is normal, and then we are discharged and I go back home. Now at this point, this guy never came to see the child, he never talked to me, he just disappeared once more. Now, the moment I went back home, it'll take time. Then I felt I need to come back to my Juja house now. Remember, I always felt the urge, each time I get close to people who can help me, I always kind of freed myself from them. Now back to trouble. So I got back to Juja and my mom came and stayed with me for a while. But one time that guy, the boyfriend, kept texting me, is your mom around? Is your mom still around? Is your mom still? So one day I decided I'll tell him my mom is not around. Ndio akuje. So akakam. And when he came, as you're saying, when those people move away from you, they stop prospering. But when they come close to you, they get back to the prospering. So he came back and alikuwa tu ameisha, alikuja hata akiwa mlevi, alikuja hata ana pesa hata ya kuletea mtoto anything. And that good girlfriend who thinks this is the father of the child, so acha nimtreat tu poa. He comes back into my life. Akaniambia twende hivi, we buy something and then turudi kwa nyumba. I'm telling you, Pastor T, that trip of going to the shops and coming back, I went and told my mom, you know what, mom, I'm okay. Now you can go back home. I'll take care of this child by myself.
Wow.
And I gave my mom fare. Told her you can leave. And she left because she couldn't argue with me. I singeskia.
The mom who stood with you all along.
Yes. Nimemfukuza.
All mama no power.
Yeah?
All mama no power.
Manze.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she left. And I'm left there and I was like, I'll get a house help, don't worry. And now this guy is back into my life sasa completely. Comes back into my life sasa anakujanga daily.
Okay.
Sasa amerudi sasa kwa prospering, anakuja na mapampers na nini. You know me, I'm just seeing the dad of my child who is so caring at this point. And I can remember this time is when I started noticing kuna place anaendanga kila Friday. And I questioned him, nikamuliza, where do you guys go every Friday? Akaniambia, my mom is sick, akona shida sijui ya uterus, blah, blah, blah. So nampelekanga hosi Naivasha. But in my head, the mom lived in Muranga. So from Muranga all the way to Naivasha, there are so many level 5 hospitals that they can go to. Naivasha was not, but at that time I didn't understand that. But he was very strict that at 7 a.m. I have to be there. Now later I came to know that walikuwa wanaishia Lake Naivasha because whatever that secret society, their service is usually on that day, at that exact time.
On Friday?
Yes, on Friday. And so akienda huko, he would come with 2 big fish each time. Fish so big, I have never seen such fish to date. So alikuwa ananiletea, and make sure...
Catfish, tilapia?
Normal tilapia.
Okay.
So he will bring it and make sure I eat it. So even if he brings na nipike vizuri and I'm like, oh, let's eat together, he'd be like, no, I'm okay. So he will. And at this point, alikuwa amefika place, he doesn't take my food. And I'm told it's a requirement. It's something they're told not to do at some point of their rituals or something.
So how did you ever land in that Naivasha? Did you go?
No, I never landed, but I was told by someone who was their family friend of what was happening. Okay. But I came to know that later. So at that time, I didn't know.
So they took your son there?
No, they spiritually? Spiritually, yes. Spiritually,
but not
yes.
Physically?
Not physically.
Okay.
Spiritually, yes, because this is after 5 months and something, my son going to 6 months is when I lost my son. And during this time, he would come and ask me.
So you lost the son at 6 months?
Yes, 5 months and something.
5 months?
Yes.
Okay, sorry for that.
Yeah, it's well. I have healed, God has been faithful. When he started bringing this fish, my milk dried. So I could no longer breastfeed my child.
Okay.
My child's so akakuwa nikaa grow. So hata each time nikienda hosi, manases wananikelelesha. And when this child was breastfeeding, he would breastfeed abnormally. Alikuwa na breastfeed, alikuwa tu anakula sana, which I think was just demonic. And then now after this is when now my child, you know, began to have, I wouldn't say stunted growth, but he wasn't growing. And I was also growing very thin after this fish began, you know. And it is at this time that, but my child never got sick at any one time. Hakuna time ati nishaimkimbiza hosi. But one time I went to visit my cousin, the same cousin I have been speaking about, and akatupeleka. But before atupeleke, akaniambia, because now it's me and the child, that we need to go to Moranga, you know, let me take you guys for a round, and then we'll come back to Thika, and then I'll drop you at your cousin's. So we went. And venye tulikuwa tunaenda, he was sending me weirdly kwa sababu tulikuwa nasimama place ananiambia enda ubai samosa pale ama enda ubai maji pale. So I'd go and take so much time, so I'd leave him with the child each time. So this Sunday, it was a Sunday. So after the whole rounds, and I couldn't understand why I keep leaving him with the child. And remember, each time nilikuwa nampea mtoi, I would feel some sort of, you know, insecurity. Such that tukiwa kwa nyumba nimpatie mtoi ashike, nilikuwa nashinda nikichungulia what he's doing, yet he's the father. Now, the moment we came back to Thika, alitu drop tu na akaishia. Alishia so fast, I wondered what was happening. That night, we went back home and he came and picked us after leaving us kwa barabara. Alituachanga tu kwa barabara. And I was like, si wata utuingize huku ndani. He's like, no. He went. So I don't know what he thought would happen at that time. That didn't happen. But he went. And at around 6, he started calling, are you still there? Then I said, yes. He said, I'm coming for you right now. Take you back home. So in my head, I'm like, this person is caring and all. So akaturudisha home, and I was like, I'm so tired, can you spend the night here so that you can help me with the child? Kwa sababu ataamka tu mchana, usiku that is. But he said no. That night, my child akaamka kama kawaida at 1. I changed his diapers, I fed him, and in the morning at around 6:30, I woke up. But when I woke up, it's like I was in a daze. Nika sikuwa usingizi, nika nilikuwa tu, it was deeper than sleep. I can tell it was deeper than sleep. But I woke up suddenly, and when I woke up, first thing I did was to touch my child. And then I started calling him. He was called Nathaniel, so I called him Nate. So I'd call him Nate. So I realized my child, he's not reacting. He's still warm, but he's not reacting to me calling him. Kumwangalia macho nikona venye amefunga macho, this is not how he shuts his eyes. So I jumped off the bed and I took him, and I started now examining him, because I would look at the pulse and all that. The pulse is there, but he's not moving, he's not talking, he's not opening his eyes. And that's when I began calling the neighbors. So I called a neighbor of mine who alikuwa tu chini yangu, and akatupeleka, tukakimbia chini, tukakimbia kwa highway. Kwenye nilikuwa naishi highway ilikuwa tu hapo. And just someone who was passing, we stopped the car na nikaingia. Where I lived in Juja Modern Hospital ilikuwa tu hapo. So that's where we went. And the moment I got there, I was just running with this child, but I could tell anakuwa tu lifeless each moment. So I ran, but I think I was so optimistic. Hisi kifo, maybe he's just gotten into he's conversing or something. So kuingia ndani, we find the doctor, and the doctor, I guess he just did it for formality, but he knew the child wasn't there. And he told me, your child has passed on. So nothing happened to this child. He wasn't sick. He just passed on like that.
Sorry for that.
It's well.
So did anything change when the child died between you and him? When you broke the news to him?
So that day I called him, he came, and he was not remorseful at all. I never saw a tear shed by him, because this child has passed. And I was so broken at that time, because this child was everything I had. This child was everything I had. So I remember just taking the child and just walking with my dead child out of the hospital, and just walking into Thika Road. And I said, you know what, my child is dead, so I'm gonna walk into this Thika Road and nigongwe na gari, let me be hit by a car and die as well, because I have nothing left in this world. That's all I have. So as I was going to cross now into the main lane, I had the nurse pulled me from behind. Akaniambia, don't do that. So she pulled me back and told me, give me that child. And I told her, no, I'm going to hold on to this child. This is all I have. So akanipeleka kando ya Thika Road, akaniongelesha, akanirudisha hosi. I was just broken.
So after all these things,
yes,
how did you get out?
How I got out is after trying to kill myself. And my mom, the same mom I chased away, she came. And that time I had taken Piritons and I had slept in a wardrobe. So akakam, wakavunja grill together with my dad, and someone entered and they opened.
Walijuaje?
So the previous night I had called my mom.
Okay.
Nikamwambia mom kwenye nimefika, because after losing this child, this man started gaslighting me.
Okay.
Tell people what you did to the child. Tell them you killed the child.
Okay.
Let everyone know. See, no one is around you. Yet yeye ndio amefanya niseparate, nijiseclude. So nilikuwa na hiyo, all those text messages and all, and so I started feeling like I also need to die then, because I probably killed this child. Let me tell you, when you are in captivity na msee na kugaslight, you start to think that whatever they are saying must be true.
So ukameza Piritons.
So nikameza Piriton ka 15.
Kajifungia kwa closet.
Kaingia wardrobe na nikalala.
So they came for you there?
So they came for me there. They thought I was dead because I had called my mom and told her, you know, I want to die. I'm not going to die. Lay me where my son is.
Okay.
So she knew what was happening, but she had talked me out of it. But of course, now they came and wakanipata hapo, and that's the moment my mom told me, you know what, I'm not leaving you in this house. Tutaenda na wewe. Nikamuuliza, after Sunday, where are you going? She told me from Monday I'll be going for fasting, and I'm coming with you. I had never fasted. In fact, I wondered what people were doing, you know, that the whole fasting thing. So tukaenda na yeye. That Sunday I gave my life to Christ. She prayed me to salvation because she was preaching pale Motarakwa as you go to Maima Hill. And nikaokoka, and after that I went straight to church with my 3 days clothes. I went to church and I stayed there for 3 months.
So that's when the deliverance now happened.
That's when the deliverance
That's when
happened.
the spirits now spoke and you knew.
Yes.
I was in bondage.
Yes, I was in bondage. They said I was their throne.
Okay.
They said they were using me also to influence and to get people into the kingdom, and it's true, because the things I was doing, I was just, you know, getting people, you know, into whatever I was doing, and there's a lot that was said, and of course the disclosure of that secret society that I won't mention. And also now the deliverances, and that's when now, but God had sent for me so many times and told my mom, Pastor Priscilla, and also Pastor Mary that, you know, that's my servant, tell her to come and serve me. But this was way before, and I was very arrogant about the things of God.
So this is also an encouragement to parents that
yes,
stand with your children no matter what they are going through.
Yes, stand with them no matter what they are going through.
Some things are spiritual.
Most everything is spiritual. Yes, because my mom had stayed in church for long, serving, and God had told her, you know, when you serve me, I'll also save your children. And she knew it was not me, she knew it was my brother, because we are just two of us, because of how out of hand I was. But God is faithful.
Wow.
And that time is when I started hearing God. And it's that time that God changed my name to Revived Winner. And yes.
So what are you doing now?
I am ministering full-time.
Wow. Pastor?
Yes.
Wow. Revived Winner? Revived Winner. Church,
digital.
TikTok.
I'm on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and I also go to churches, mostly youth ministry and women ministry, young ladies. I like to speak to them, but also you know, young men. Yes, largely that. Any future prospects? Sasa unajua ukifanya kitu kama hiyo na mwanaume unaweza sema mimi sitaiolewa. Unajua ukiingia kwa kingdom ya God, you start to align with the things of God, and marriage is the... That's powerful. Yes. That's powerful. Well, that's amazing. Anything you want to tell the audience, the final thing, someone watching today? Anything I'd want to tell the audience is align yourself with God. By the way, align yourself with with one that has your blueprint, and that is Christ Jesus, and that is through giving your life to Christ. Align yourself and everything else will align. We work so hard to align things. We work so hard to find things for ourselves. There's so much effort that human beings are putting in. But the best thing you can do for yourself is just giving your life to Christ, aligning, and those that have given their lives to Christ, it is serving God.
Wow, that's powerful. Na pia ni fiti tuambie mtu akiwa ndani ya God nyota yake haiwezi ibiwa. Ukiwa ndani ya Mungu fiti nyote iko sawa.
Yes.
Anyway, thank you very much for everyone that was following. It's an amazing story, quite sad, quite interesting, and also eye-opening. Though sometimes unaambiangwa before you get into any relationship, get to know the person, not just physically, but even spiritually. Let's engage at the crossroad segment. So thank you and welcome. This is the crossroad segment. Remember, the world is not becoming secular. The world is becoming more spiritual. Many people think that the fact that people are not bowing to the true living God, then people are not bowing to anything. One writer wrote and said, nature does not permit vacuums. Meaning that if there is no bowing to the true living God, then there is a bowing, maybe to a God that you know or a God that you don't know. Many spiritual things are happening. And the only way to understand spiritual things is to be spiritually active. The Bible says that spiritual things can only be spiritually discerned. There is such an agenda to make sure that people grow in ignorance towards spiritual things. And I'll give this analogy. When I give you a gun and you pull the trigger, the gun will not produce anything else other than a bullet. The fact that you didn't know pulling the trigger will cause the gun to produce a bullet will not stop the gun from producing the bullet. So the fact that you don't know about spiritual things will not protect you from not having some of the spiritual encounters. And so wisdom is very key. It's upon you to understand and to study. People are deep in their stuff. Nitasema watu wanatembea wanakaa ni watu lakini ni vitu. So lazima ukue rada na ujue ni nini unafuata. At the end of the day, it's personal, and I believe the greatest security that a man can get is to be in Jesus and for Jesus to be in you. That's the greatest assurance that a man can get. My name is Pastor Tim Mwangi, and thank you for joining us every Saturday for the Angaza show. I want to say thank you to the amazing crew, the testimony, and everyone that is behind the production, and the KBC family. God bless you till next Saturday. God bless you.